Yep.
Jaden is a wet boy.
Testing. Davis is a wet boy. That's what he commanded me to say.
The talk now.
Salut. I don't speak French. Yeah, we'll just talk for a bit.
Looking back a year later, where were you mentally and emotionally when this project first began?
I was in a place of confusion, I'd say. Nice. I was in a place of confusion, you know, the hunger to look for answers, you know. I think a lot was starting to reveal in my life in terms of the things that I knew, the things that I understood, the things that I was domesticated to, you know what I mean? You know, growing up, there's a certain mentality that I had in terms of being quite prideful in terms of the music, in terms of having a point to prove and proving to be the best. You know, there was a lot of anger within me, and turning that anger into power with the art, the pain, everything. I'd say ultimately, yeah, there was a lot of confusion and just seeking for answers, you know, when I was younger. Yeah.
What's your process when creating an album?
Process. So when I'm creating an album, the process for me is always about the experience. So what is it that I'm going through? What is the theme? I delve into the theme of things, and then I go into the sound. Most importantly, the sound is like the inspiration in terms of like piecing together the theme and what I'm telling as a story. You know, especially with this project was more so focusing on the experience of the journey and, you know, the highs and lows of the journey, but putting a lot of emphasis on the low parts, you know, just keeping it raw, authentic, and just informing listeners and people that where we come from, the things that we struggle with, you know, we're not alone in it. But at the same time, it's important to address it and be honest with yourself, because that's also the key to freedom. You see, with people, we're so fixated on being free, or I wish I could leave this, I wish I could leave that, but you don't experience those things until you kind of dig within yourself and you free yourself from what it is that you change your mind from. So that's kind of what I want to encapsulate. I want to encapsulate from the album, and that's the type of themes that I explore when it comes to it. So it's about the theme, the sound, the storytelling, and the message. Most importantly, the intention behind the message. What is it I'm trying to say to people? What is it people want me to say to them to reach out to other people as well? So yeah, that's the most important part about it all, if I'm being honest with you.
Did the album mark a turning point to you?
Yeah, 100% the album did, yeah. I'd say, like, for me, the album was kind of like my friend Charlie, my film man as well, shout out to Charlie, he said it to me as well, like, this feels like the magnum opus of your career, of your art so far, you know. I think this was a turning point where it kind of made me realize that I can be authentic without having to kind of fit in some type of way, or I can just be myself unapologetically and it's still appreciated, because it's always a risk when you're revealing yourself to the world, or you're revealing yourself to friends, loved ones, or to people around you. Even yourself is a risk in itself, it's a risk too. So, you know, approaching that with an open mind, being experimental with it, and saying to myself, you know what, forget about what I did in my last project where it was about being braggadocious, trying to have a certain style. This one, I want to be honest. I want to tell people, the whole world, my struggles, my pain, but also turning it into power and not monetizing black trauma, because I feel like that's also a trend where anything to do with black art or black media, there has to be a form of trauma attached to it, whether it be the streets, whether it be, you know, pain, anger. I kind of wanted to change that narrative with this approach with the music, you know. I wanted this album to be like, I wanted this album to be a symbol where I've created something that's very deep. It cuts deep, but at the same time, it's inspirational and it's liberating.
Zenith. The word Zenith for me is like higher state. You know, that's the interpretation of the project itself, the doorway to Zenith, the doorway to finding your higher state. You know, it's open for interpretation. Some people may take it as something that's spiritual. Some people may take it as something that's like to do with like astrology, you know, with the planets and stuff like that. But for me personally, it's to do with finding your higher state. You know, we're born pure. You know, we're born pure, and sometimes the world can taint our purity. Sometimes the world can make us a bit dirty. So it's kind of going back to that inner child, tapping into your inner child, connecting with it, and realigning yourself in a state where you're free. You know what I mean? You're free, and that's the premise of the message behind the project is more so about finding freedom within. And when you find freedom within, anything's achievable. You know, it's just about being grounded. So for me, Zenith is just about the highest state, you know, the highest state of yourself. When you feel good, you can think clearly, you got confidence, you got a higher self-esteem, you're able to do things for yourself, you know, you grow within yourself as a person where you can give out good things to the world on top of that.
Were there any unexpected turning points during the creation process? Moments where the project shifted or took a new meaning?
Yeah, surprisingly, so like the first year I made it, so back in 2022 when I made the project, it was actually called Things Fall Into Place. It was like it was kind of inspired, it was derived by the roots Things Fall Apart. I wanted it to be like the opposite, where things fall into place. And originally the project was gonna be, well, similar to how it is now, obviously just with a different title, a different album cover. You know, I went to when I took a trip to Liverpool with my family back in 2021, I went to the Slavery Museum and I saw things that kind of opened my eyes into what my ancestors endured, what they went through, and it's quite traumatic and it was quite deep. But it's more so the fact that it was pretty, these pigeons crazy, it's good, it's the fact that this isn't educated enough to us, you know, we're not taught about it. So I wanted the cover to be something from the museum when I made it. But obviously it changed. There was a turning point where I kind of wanted it to be more introspective, you know, after, I think this was before Mr. Morale came out. So Mr. Morale, The Big Steppers came out back in 2023. I started listening to that more. And then when I listened to that, I started to kind of develop the introspective side of the album itself. And that's when, you know, the cover changed. You know, Margaret Boland's illustration inspired, you know, the story behind it, you know, with black kids, you know, young black babies being taught to not love themselves enough, you know, where, you know, that's where the cotton crown came from. The cotton crown was a symbol that you have royalty within you, but the cotton kind of creates value in terms of what we thought of ourselves, you know, from what we were taught.
Which events, experiences, or mediums had the biggest influence on this project coming together?
I think I want to say the first time I went to therapy ignited that. It definitely ignited that, because for me it made me realize that we grow up with patterns, you know, we grow up accustomed to patterns, we grow up with behaviors that are enforced on us, whether it be by your parents, family or friends, and you kind of pick up on that and you become accustomed to it, and it's kind of added to your personality traits. You know, when I went to therapy, it opened my eyes, it made me realize that like, it's okay to kind of let these emotions be processed, it's okay to cry, not just cry, but it's okay to feel things. And I was at a point in my life where I kind of pushed back on things that I didn't want to feel, whether it be love, whether it be happiness. You know, I was more so prone to feeling anger, you know, anger where it was like, I felt like I was alone in my experiences. I felt like I was alone in my problems. But, you know, going to therapy, it made you realize that like, shit, like you're not alone in what you go through. You know what I mean? The experiences you face aren't as unique as you think they are. It's a universal thing. It's what you do with it to kind of grow as a person or regress, you know what I mean? Or, you know, hold yourself back. So for me, that was one of them. And the other one was, you know, performing for the first time and collaborating with different musicians. I think when I started to collaborate with musicians, you know, pianists, guitarists, bass players, drummers, I explored territories of music that I was craving to explore for a very long time. So that kind of helped me shift the sound of the album. You know, I want to give a shout out to Molly, I want to give a shout out to Jewel, Joy, I want to give a shout out to you know, the guys that helped me shape the sound of the album itself. So I say, yeah, exploring a different type of, exploring that musicality, and also going to therapy. and being more honest with myself. Yeah.
The Zenith Experience concert,
Yeah.
what did the moment signify for you emotionally, artistically?
It made me realize that I can achieve the things that I think are impossible. But it's not just with me, it's more so with the folks I had around me. You know, my band, the crew, Jermaine, Natalie, James, Nathan, shout out to them. Again, Jewel, you know, doing the backup singing. I want to give a shout out to them because they and also Sam as well. Shout out to Sam, Step Brothers, you know, Next Door Records. They helped me shape this event. A Grim Dreamer too, I want to give a shout out to him as well. They helped me shape this event in terms of like piecing things to get together. You know, it's the first time I had merchandise there with the Zenith t-shirts. You know, we wanted to create this theatrical experience with the performance where it wasn't going to be structured like a typical performance where I'm going to explain to you what the song is, the context of it, contextualizing every single song prior to me performing it. I wanted it to be a case of where, you know, I'm going to be performing this song, I'm going to probably be freestyling, merging a couple songs together, but I want you as the audience and as the viewer to immerse yourself in this journey, to feel the experience as if you're on it yourself, and at the end of it, it's going to be like, wow, you're going to walk out proud, you're going to walk out feeling like you gained something from it. And I say that to say because that was the first time I think when a lot of people were in that room, and we had a crap ton of people in that room, man. It was packed out crazy. I didn't even expect it to see so many people there. But, you know, the people in that room, you know, that was probably a turning point for them where they realized, oh, like, you know, this is serious, this is real, like in terms of the storytelling, in terms of the musicality, in terms of just everything that pieced it together is real, you know. And I think it's important because we as artists, you know, we can do certain things that everyone else is doing, or we can do things that's true to us. And for me, I connected with doing what's true to me, and that is, you know, that performance right there. So I want to give a shout out to all of them, man, because that was, it was a big moment, and I'm just proud that the fact that it was recorded. I'm proud that I'm able to release that for other people to look at. I'm also proud of the fact that, you know, we have the live album coming with additional tracks that I recorded at the time when I was making the doorway to Zenith too. So, you know, it's more so just giving back to people, you know, giving back to the people that supported me, even at times when I wanted to quit, even at times when I wasn't sure if what I was doing is enough. You know, I've always had a very good, strong support system of folks that just, you know what I mean, they just tune into the music, they show love, and I appreciate that, and it is acknowledged. And yeah, I'm just proud. I'm very proud and full of pride that, you know, these things have happened, just turning points, you know what I mean?
How did it feel to perform the project live compared to how you imagined it?
Shit, you know what, yeah? When I performed the project live, like, I had to get something on my chest. Like, it was more so the fact, again, it's more so being in a position where it's proven to people that, like, this is the level that I'm at, this is the level that I'm on, this is the level that my crew's on, this is the level that we're doing, where we're constantly raising the bar and we're pushing the envelope. And, you know, performing those songs for the first time live, it was so galvanizing. I don't know what it did. It just invigorated me like crazy. Like, I just remember just being just so energized, and I just felt like I felt inspired. I felt inspired in that moment where, like, the words was just clicking, you know, everything, the music, the instruments, the sound, everything was just combining with each other to where you was just like emitting it, and like you could just see the impact it was creating in the room. Like, it most certainly impacted us when we were performing it, you know, as the crew. You know, when we were doing the songs, like, we were like, yeah, this is real, because the rehearsals prior to that was just, you know, it wasn't a nightmare, but we were working with a tight schedule. We were working with a tight schedule where we rehearsed like once a week, twice a week, maybe if we were lucky. It'll be for like an hour and a bit. Some folks were either ill, they had stuff going on, but we still pushed through, and I think the reward was that night. And again, so glad that it was captured, because this is a piece of history. You know, this is a piece of history that everyone that experienced that was there at the event, you know, they can look back on and be like, we were there, you know what I mean? We were there to experience that as a collective, you know. I'm in a mindset where the stuff that I make, you know, it's introspective, but it's also universal, you know what I mean? I don't think of it anymore where it's like, this is my story, this is my pain, this is not. It's like, nah, this is our story. It's a universal thing. So, you know, when I'm writing these lyrics and I'm talking about what I'm going through, this is also something that somebody else is going through as well. You know, when people be singing these lyrics, you know, they're talking from their perspective, and I think that's the power of introspection when it comes to storytelling and songwriting. It's not just solely about me and what I go through. I want it to be about what the next person may go through, where they connect with it and they don't feel like they're alone in it. Live performance did change how I felt about the album, for sure. I think it made me appreciate the artistry behind it, you know, because again, like anybody can go in the studio, write at 16, record a banger, make all this music and do these things. But I think there's a difference between someone that's in the studio, someone that can go on stage and still maintain that energy and charisma that they had when they were making the songs in the studio. And for me, I believe it shows versatility, you know, as an artist. It shows how in tune you are with your world and what you created. And I think after that live performance, it made me realize, it kind of inspired me actually a lot. It inspired me as a person. It inspired me with the direction I want to go for my next project. But for sure, it made me appreciate it. It made me appreciate the labor of it, and also just how, you know, I believe this is something that's going to be held at a high regard. It was going to be appreciated in 30 years time, 30, 40 years time, you know. We're going to look back on it and be like, this is one of those bodies of works where it's appreciated now as time goes on. I got this philosophy. My philosophy, and I said this to my partner, my friends as well. I said my philosophy is that I believe that we as creatives, we're time travelers. You know, we're so far ahead of time, but it's not in terms of an arrogant way. It's more so the fact just how intuitive we are with what we make and our outlook of the world, and how we can create things based on experiences or research and tell stories from different perspectives. You know, we just have that arsenal within us where we're just able to channel that energy, you know, as creatives. And yeah, I think it definitely was a turning point for me. It definitely made me appreciate what I made a lot more. Made me also realize that it's not about the numbers, it's not about the streams, it's about connecting with people. And in that room, we had about 25 to 30 people probably, if I'm gonna be honest. I know, connected with every single person, man. Every single person in that room, even people working at the bar, people that weren't even part of the venue, they felt that impact. And I can't take that for granted with the music, you know. And I think, especially in this period that we're in, we get so caught up with numbers, the metrics. We get caught up with, you know, the instant gratification. You know, this artist is doing this well with what they're doing. I'm at a point now where there's a divide between humans and robots, and, you know, you can pick which side you prefer. Me personally, I want to be touching humans. I want to be reaching the humans with the music and the art, you know. Something that stayed with me when I performed Soul Sister was more so my parents being in the room, you know, like, they're probably not gonna like hearing this, or not like hearing this, but they'll probably feel a bit like, you know. But yeah, because for me, Soul Sister was more so about exploring the things that I didn't quite understand with my relationship with my mum, you know, with my parents. You know, when I was younger, I didn't quite understand, I couldn't grasp around my head, you know, the changes that occurred in their lives. You know, one minute they're together, next minute they move on, they find different people. But most importantly, I talk about my relationship with, you know, my identity, you know, being a black man, you know, a black male, a young black male specifically. And I just remember as a kid, you know, I mean no harm when I say this, you know, because my mom's cool, man. She's cool, man. I gotta love her. But I just remember as a kid, you know, when she met her partner, her husband now, you know, and obviously he's a white guy, and as a kid that confused me, you know what I mean? And that's what the song was kind of about. It was like, you know, I was confused, you know, I didn't know what to say. But, you know, as I grew up and I got older, I started to embrace change in the world, embrace change with people. So performing that live with both of them in that room, for me, it showed me that like I could be absolutely raw with what I'm saying. And at the end of the day, it doesn't pull people away, it brings them together. So that's why like I hold Soul Sister at a high regard, because it doesn't only just talk about my relationship with my mother, her meeting someone else of a different color skin. It also talked about, you know, my relationship with women, black women specifically, you know. Didn't have the best relationship with my mom growing up, but I never disregarded or disrespected black women, you know what I mean? And I don't say that to say, you know, as if it's like a Nobel Prize or as if it's like a badge to wear where it's like, I don't disrespect black women. Nah, none of that. I'm not on that corny stuff. For me, it's important because we see a lot of, you know, young black guys typically where I'd say a minority of them, they just have hate in their heart because of their dysfunctional relationship with black women, and they don't know what to do with that. They don't know how to process that. They don't know how to, you know, come to terms with the fact that it's damaged and how can they repair it. You know, I believe everything's salvageable. Well, most things are salvageable. So Soul Sister kind of encapsulated that, and performing that with both my parents in that room, for me, that made me realize like, shit, like this is powerful. This is the essence of having a purpose in something that you're connected with, you know what I mean, you're close to.
In retrospect, what do you think this project taught you about yourself, about art, about your direction?
I think this project taught me that you can be honest with yourself and you're not going to face repercussions from it. If anything, honesty pulls people into you. As I said earlier, I think it taught me with the art, and I was always told this before, and I remember I was told by my mentors, I was told that like, you know, be honest with what you make, you know, and like there's nothing wrong with it, because it's weird, because when you're honest about the art you make, especially as a writer, more people connect with it. It's really weird. It's like this attraction thing where, I don't want to say law of attraction because it's not, I don't think it's to do with that. I could be wrong though, but it's this attraction thing where, like, you know, if I'm talking about something where I don't really tell folks about often, or if I'm telling a story that's like crazy and it's like I don't know how people are going to respond to it, the results is usually the opposite. So I would say it's taught me to be less apprehensive in speaking up and being honest with myself.
When you think about where you were then versus now,
Yeah.
what's the biggest thing that has changed?
Where I was then and now, the biggest thing that's changed from where I was back then to now is that I've had a reality check. Yeah, I've had a reality check, but it's also taught me a lot of things that I wasn't aware about with myself in terms of just like ego. You know, I'd say that I did have quite an ego, you know, back then, surprisingly, you know, while I was making that album. I think compared to now, I've kind of realized and understood that like we all have to start somewhere with what we do. But at the same time, giving thanks to the things that we've got, because it could go any day. Like, I've been reading a lot of books as well, you know, reading books, trying out things that's outside of my books. That's where the most inspiration comes from. I think that's where I feel a lot more alive, when I'm trying things that's outside of my comfort zone. You know, it wasn't as bad as it was back then compared to now, but I would say if I was to compare where I was, I'd say that I was quite rigid in terms of my views on what I thought was right and wrong, in terms of what I was domesticated to, until recently I started reading more books and I started to channel into myself again, where I was educated on, you know, certain aspects of myself that I discovered from these books. And for me, I've realized that, you know, the only way you can find the answer to things is by reading books, absorbing things that's outside of your comfort zone, and also taking action, the power in taking action and just doing things for the sake of doing it. You can't outthink what you're thinking. You know what I mean? So it taught me that, and it also taught me the power of growth and the power of choosing, you know, having a choice in life. You know, we all have a choice in life, whether we want to grow, whether we want to commit to certain things, whether we want to pursue, commit, you know, whatever we want to do that we put our mind to, we all have a choice in doing it. You know, that's the premise of what we do day in, day out. It's all a choice. So I started to notice that, I started to realize that, I started to put that into place, and I think it kind of strengthened my state of mind, being at peace, you know, especially in situations where, like, you know, it may be a shock, changes may shock your system. Is also being at peace and being like, you know what, these things are teaching me something. You know what I mean? That's also another thing. You know, when you go through a lot of these things, you go through difficulties, adversities, it's teaching you something. And I didn't really think that before. I used to just think like, oh, why am I going through this? Or like, wow, you know what I mean? Thinking that, third world problems, you know what I mean? It's all, you know, my experiences. But it's like, nah, this is teaching me something. So what is it teaching me? It's kind of changing your frame of mind of it. So I say that's what's changed about me from then to now. Just absorbing more things, being open-minded, and also just asking myself more questions like, what is this doing for me? You know what I mean? I feel like that's where you're programming a purpose in what you're engaging with.
Is there a time where you was like, I want to give up on music?
Oh, I love how you
But
ask me that
you
question.
have to say this, it's not coming from me.
Okay, yeah. There was a time when I wanted to give up on music, and it's happened so many times, more than most people can imagine. It even happened to me over the last 3 months. I wanted to give up on it. I was so adamant. I was like, I'm done. I can't do it. You know, like, how can you make a living out of it? Or, you know, just the jobs, the space, the industry, the folks, and it's saying, you know, how, you know, it's quite predatory. And, you know, you have people where it's like, how bad do you want it? And it's like, it made me realize, and it made me think that, like, I'm not dying for it. I'm not dying for anything in this life. And, you know, I'm not dying for anything other than God. You know, I'm just his serpent. I'm just his child, you know, and I'm sharing these stories. I'm doing things that are spreading love to the right people, to my people. But I said recently I wanted to give up on music. I wanted to give up on music because of the culture. I developed a great disdain of the culture. You know, I felt like the music culture was just saturated with degeneracy. I felt like it was saturated with just some stuff that just wasn't progressive. You know, I was quite frustrated with myself and just how, you know, how rigged it is, if I'm being honest with you. But, you know, I spoke to Nels, I had a conversation with him, I spoke to my loved ones and my family, you know, and you know, I think speaking to my friends and my families about it made me realize that we built something special here. It's not just me, it's my people, everyone that supported me throughout this journey, you know, friends that's come and gone, my loved ones, my family, my partner, you know, these people have supported me massively in terms of creating the stuff that I do. And, you know, without them, I wouldn't find the inspiration to tell these stories or to think, you know, most importantly, to think.
You know, I had to ask this question.
Go on.
Let's talk about Gospel Talk, the music video.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Tell us about it.
Yeah, man. Shout out to my boy, man. Shout out to Davidus, man. Man, Gospel Talk, the crew, we had a fat crew for that, didn't we? We had Chloe, Sam, Zach, Jamie, Sasha, Muskan, We had what's his name? Jordan. Is it Jordan?
Joel.
Joel. Sorry, my bad. I'm so sorry. Joel. I'm trying to think of anyone else. We had a big crew. Was this like the biggest
crew we've had? And we had a big
crew.
post-production team.
Yeah. Shout out to the post-production team as well, the editors as well that did that. Yeah, man, Gospel Talk. I love that video. I think personally, I don't know how you feel, but I think that was the most stretched we were in terms of like coming up with ideas, doing things on set. We had to go to the park early in the morning. It's freezing. I was shivering, cold. We're out in the park. We spent what, 3 days? Was it 3-4 days we were filming the video? 3-4 days doing the video, and it was all day, like full shifts all day. You know, the green screen room on the last day, that was so cool. I remember I brought my dad there because my dad is, he's on his break. Brought my dad there to just check us out, what we're doing. It was really cool doing that. We had the fan, the effects. We had the crown Muscan. Shout out to her for making the crown, the cotton crown, integral part of piecing together the video, and also just using it for the live performance, for the Zenith Experience. We had so much fun. I had so much fun making that video, especially with the crew, because we made videos before. We made Know Me, we made 103.5 FM. Obviously, that's a packed lunch edition. Shout out to Jamie for that. But it's just the chemistry that we had at that point in terms of like, okay, we got an idea of who does what. We have an idea of people's strengths, people's weaknesses, and it's like, okay, let's come together, let's make something. And we had so much fun doing it, the vision, everybody had the same vision in terms of what we would do, what we wanted to do for the video. I remember I shared it to David. It's like I gave you the mood board for it, and then you gave me some stuff, and I was like, oh shit, this is cold. And like, yeah, everything just clicked. Like it's probably one of my favorite videos I've recorded, because that period was where we reached a point where we're like, yeah, we're on the same wavelength. Like everybody was just aligned with just the vision, the goal, and we hit that objective. Like we really did. We really turned up on that day. We were ace on it, and I'm just so glad. We had that at the screening as well, seeing it in the cinema, for a private event. And I just look back. For me, like, I think when I was making music videos from the beginning, it was more so finding my style. And I remember folks would say to me, like, I can see your videos being abstract, having this extra stuff, with the backgrounds, the buildings. And then Gospel Talk felt like the closest thing. It felt like what we were trying to do for a very long time. What I wanted to do for a very long time on top of that as well. And yeah, when we filmed that, the editing, when we got to watch it, we were just so full of pride, man. We were just so proud of the efforts that we put in, and I cannot thank the team enough for that. I got so much love for the crew. You got people from different backgrounds, where in terms of what they do, what they work on, people with their individual projects. It felt like a family, when we did that, and that's what I really enjoyed about it. I felt comfortable, I felt safe, I felt like the ideas that we were sharing were viewed, and they were acknowledged. And yeah, the Gospel Talk video, man, and the fact it was nominated for the Japanese Film Festival as well, wasn't it?
Tokyo Film Festival, yeah.
That's another one. We got a couple of them in the bag, man. This guy's connected. But yeah, honestly, man, shout out to the crew for that, man, because that was very important for me. That's the essence of the Doorway to Zenith, with the crown, the sky. Oh my days! You remember seeing the sunset? Mm-hmm. Yeah, even outside, even with the builders, Janelle and Muscan and Zach, they built the set as well. Just seeing them do it in real time, it was sick, man. I'm like, bro, this is all for this video. It was a proper professional setup, and I was just really impressed with just how sharp everybody was when we made the video. Because for me, like, I take inspiration from other people. Most importantly, if I'm seeing somebody stepping up on something, it prompts me to step up as well, vice versa. So very impressed with the team, trustworthy people, efficient folks, and yeah, man, it was great. We had a good celebration afterwards as well, didn't we? We had a race as well. We do that race outside that pub. Yeah. That was rigged, by the way, just saying, my shoe came off, but yeah, nah, it was good though. It was really good doing that video.
What does the future look like after this project? Any upcoming ideas, experiments, directions you want to explore?
The future, the future. The future of, well, next projects, I want to be exploring different territories. Like when I say territories, I mean like I want to be focusing on different aspects of music. I don't want to just be like releasing albums and doing like, you know, what I do that I'm known to be doing. I want to kind of again push the envelope, and I say this and I'm putting it out there where there's gonna be a pattern of me trying different things that's going to surprise a lot of people. We've already got the first project that's finished. Basically, I just need to touch up on a few things of that, and we'll see where that goes. In terms of other stuff as well, I mean, I've been composing recently, you know, composing for Borders. You know, I did series 1, 2. So there's going to be a lot of like composing for music that I'm going to try, I want to tap into as well. But you know what, I'm just very excited for what I have ahead, and you know, it's been a while since I've released any music, and I want to, you know, put it out there to you know, to folks that are waiting, that we, when I say we, I mean me and the crew, we're gonna be dropping some more stuff. You know, I got a lot of stuff in the vaults. I got a lot of things I want to be releasing, but it's more so just about being efficient when I'm putting it out there. You know, I like to take my time when it comes to making music and finalizing things, because I want to feel like the ideas have been maximized when I come out of the studio or when I've written a song. So I want to be exploring different territories when it comes to the music itself. I kind of want to open my palette a bit more in terms of the music I am manufacturing and what I am putting out to my discography. But yeah, it's quite cryptic, because I don't like to specify what I'm doing next, because I'd rather show and just release it, you know what I mean? But I will leave off with this, that something is coming soon. And there's going to be a lot more experimentation with the music itself. So yeah, it's exciting times. It's exciting times, and you know, right now, this period that I'm at, you know, I graduated from university. I did a music degree. I'm very happy about that. 22 years old. I've done a lot for myself in music. It's more so finding what's next and what gives me purpose, what gives me a new lease of life. And for me, it's not the things that I thought it was a couple of years ago. You know, for me, it's just about the enjoyment of making things and getting to know new people, you know, embracing stuff that's outside of the box, because that's where the action and motivation comes from, you know. So yeah, very, very exciting times ahead. I will be back. It's one of those things where like, it's just mad to see how much it's blossomed, and I just want to end off by saying thank you to everybody that's been along this journey, and I'm looking forward to the live album coming out, along with some additional stuff that I did record when I made the album that I haven't released before. Take it as like a deluxe version, I guess. But yeah, just thank you, and I've thoroughly enjoyed this journey. You know, it's helped me to, I've said this before as well, but it truly has helped me to discover a side of myself where I guess you could say it's educated me about people, it's educated me about the world. I wouldn't say like this is my identity, but it's more like, it's very informative and it's humbling, and I say that in the most positive way. So I just want to, yeah, just share some appreciation, man, because it's just cool. It's really cool doing all these things, and you know, when you make this stuff and you look back on it 20 years time, it's like, yeah, we did our thing, man. We did our thing, and that's what I want to be saying at the end of the day. So yeah, just thank you to everyone that's tuned in. Lastly, I said it about 1,000 times, but honestly, in my heart of hearts, I'm just grateful to be healthy, breathing, God watching me, God giving me this ability to do these things. So yeah, I'm gonna just wrap off with that, and we look forward to what's there tomorrow when the sun rises.